Hello everybody, this is Ian again for another Doctor Who review. And so, I thought it would be nice to take a little break from the classic series and take a little trip to the modern series. And what better episode to do my first modern episode review about than my favorite modern Doctor. I'm doing the Christmas Invasion. I don't actually have any of the DVDs for this because I've watched all the modern episodes on Netflix, but yeah, so the Christmas Invasion is the debut episode of David Tennant as 10th Doctor. Once again, this review will have spoilers, but basically the plot of this episode is the recently regenerated Doctor lands on Earth and basically goes into the post-regenerative trauma, much like the 5th Doctor. And the synapses are shutting down, neural implosion, all those fancy Time Lord diseases, or whatever they're called. I don't think they're diseases, but anyway, so as he's regenerating, a spaceship flies over London and takes control of, mind control over every single A-positive human, which is a third of the population, and makes them look like they're threatening to jump off every building in the world if they don't surrender their planet. So, Harriet Jones, and the TARDIS are beamed up to, the spaceship, the Sycorax spaceship, which is what spaceship it is. Sycorax is the dude right there. And basically what happens is the Doctor is, out of it at this point. So, it's basically up to Rose and Harriet Jones to save the world. Which they do. And the climax of the episode is a sword duel between the Sycorax leader and the Doctor, who comes to and is healed. And then the Sycorax spaceship flies away. And then Harriet Jones blows it up, which made the Doctor really mad. So this episode, I really enjoyed this episode. It's one of my favorite Christmas specials, and one of my favorite episodes in general. I really like it just because the plot is really good. It's a really great introductory episode to someone who hasn't seen Doctor Who before. It's the one I've used multiple times when I have a friend who hasn't seen Doctor Who but wants to. I'll use this episode as kind of, because it's the start of a new Doctor and it's a good episode. So it's a good episode to start with. And I really love, not so much the acting didn't stand out to me. The acting was really good, but it didn't really stand out to me. But what really stood out to me was the effects. The special effects were really good. And, that's one thing the modern series does much better than the classic series, is that it has much better special effects, and just effects in general. The acting's a little better. But I definitely enjoyed this episode. It was a very exciting episode, but it wasn't one of those constant action episodes. It was longer than usual. I think it was an hour and a half, or usually they're only about an hour. But it was very good because it was interesting. It kept you interested even when nothing was really happening. It was just kind of setting stuff up. But then when the Sycorax employ their mind control device, it gets just so good. All the people walking out, it's like several billion people just walking down the streets with these little blue auras above their heads going up to the buildings. It was really quite ominous, and And the sword duel at the end was very well choreographed. And it was funny. And, like, the Doctor, Satsuma, it was, and I love the Christmas tree of doom from the beginning. And, I do like how they had the robot Santas, which would show up later in The Runaway Bride in the following season. So, I really like this episode. I don't have much more to say about it. I would definitely recommend it, especially to someone who hasn't seen an episode of Doctor Who yet. I would definitely recommend this episode, and I would give it 8.5, 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. I'd have to give this episode a 9 out of 10.